Today we're doing another video. Starting to make the preparations for the front end here. The only thing that's going to hold me up is the springs and possibly the upper control arms because I have to trim those. But we'll see what happens. I kind of have the lower control arms sort of on. I guess they're kind of in place, but I don't know if that's how I'm going to do it or not. We're going to find out with the springs. But first, before we start trying to put the springs in, I need to get the engine in. And there's a few things on the back of it that I haven't done, and it's been sitting for 2 years I really need to do. Alright, so I'm kind of using this as a guide for these spindles. Oh shit, wrong. So I gotta trim that white part, which would mean this outer lip right here to about like right here, all the way around to about right here, and then trim a little bit off this. Looks like that fold is bent out more than mine, to be honest, but we're gonna go ahead and trim it anyways, just to be sure. Probably not gonna start working on this part of it today, but I'm also sitting here looking at my spring compressor, and kind of have an issue where I saw that a few other guys had to figure something out for this too. But you can't put the coil spring compressor on the very end of each side, so you have to go off this one. Well, when I do that, the rod, which is right here, the rod wants to stick too far up. So once it tightens to where it needs to be, which would be about right here, I'm sticking out at least that much, and that's even before we start like actually compressing the spring. So by the time I compress it a few inches, it's probably gonna be sticking out of the spring like about that much. And when we look at the frame, I think, yeah, here's where the shot comes through. But coil spring goes up in here, so if that rod is sticking way out, you know, it's not gonna work. It's gonna run into the frame and cause issues. This is kind of where I have the lower control arms right now. I got the this isn't the last time I'm going to put the motor in. I obviously still need to adjust the holes over there on the mounts. They weren't like exact, so got one bolt out. But got those in. It's going to be also like test fit number 2. You can kind of see where it was hitting before right there, and about right in there. And I did notice this goes to the gas pedal, and I think it was the heads or something was actually hitting that. And I think I need to zip this off, because that goes to the old transmission column shift linkage. Probably just zip that off. Eventually, whenever I get to that stage, I'm going to figure out how to delete the whole column shift thing anyways, because I don't want a fucking bar just sitting in there. But for right now, I might zip that off. I don't know, we'll see. We're gonna see how it fits. I kind of this is the parking brake cable. I kind of zip tied it right there when I was painting the frame, keep it up out of the way. And I got the engine sitting here. I got that Mr. Gasket lift plate. It's actually working pretty good now that I got a new chain. Went to the hardware store. I got a new chain. I got these ends here that seem to be working pretty well. I like that they have this little clip here. The other style I had would not go into the holes because it was too skinny on the opening, so it wouldn't go in there. But these work pretty good. So this is like a 1350 pound chain, so I think it'll hold 400 and change. The thing that I need to do before putting the motor in today, I need to get this rear main seal in, and I got my rear main seal installer. As you can see, it's been sitting like this for like probably 2 years now, but I have no rear main in there, and moisture has gotten to the crank a little bit. You can see where it's just surface rust. I'm not fucking worried about it. Yeah, there you go. Proof that it's an actual 6-liter, I guess. But yeah, so there was a bunch of cobwebs and shit and all that stuff back here because it's been sitting so damn long. Poor girl. We'll get her in soon for the last time, hopefully, until she blows or something. Yeah, I haven't tightened down the oil pressure sensor. It's kind of a weird guy. I'd probably have to pull out the cam sensor to get that in, but it's a weird nut on there, and I heard you don't want to like crazy torque it, so I just kind of put it in there to cap off the hole for now, and obviously I'm going to tighten that later, but for right now it's just kind of in there to plug the hole. So I think I have the crank sensor in there too. Yep. But we're also gonna look at a few things when we pop this in here. Mainly the starter area, because I heard trying to put a starter on and off on these once the engine's in a S10, kind of a pain in the ass. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this on. I probably won't record this, but it's pretty straightforward. On this it says on the rubber somewhere. Yeah, it says this side out. So they give you this little plastic ring to help you guide it in. Use this to tap it in evenly. So probably gonna put some oil on the crank here a little bit so we can slide this puppy on there. But as you tap it in, this white piece comes out, and that's pretty much it. I did get a new oil dog bone, but I don't know. I don't know if I really think it's that important or whatever to pull the whole valley cover off, or rear cover off, because we already RTV'd it and everything to the oil pan and all that when we built the motor. I obviously don't have any footage of that because that was before I started up my YouTube channel when we built this. Alright, that was pretty simple. Got the rear main seal in. You can see that little plastic thing came off. But yeah, I think me and my brother got it pretty spot on, thankfully. Hopefully she don't leak. Guess if it does, we'll be pulling the shit back out. Hopefully not. So, but now we got that in, we're gonna go ahead and plop the motor in. Alright dudes, that went pretty smoothly. Took me all of like 10 minutes really to drop her down in there and get the bolts through. That lift plate made it a lot easier. I kind of just threw the intake and that cover on to see what kind of clearance I'm working with. You gotta remember this thing is sitting at an angle because it is on jack stands, so it's a little higher in the front than the rear. That's why it looks like it's tilted up, but really it's level-ish. But yeah. Now that this is the first test fit video I had, I actually wasn't able to drop it in and get the bolts all the way through on both sides, but this time I was, and now you can really see. I guess I'm touching a little bit there, or no, hard to see on camera, but I'm actually, well, yeah, just barely. It looks like I scraped it going in, but it actually doesn't hit anywhere. Last time it was hitting on the gas pedal, bolts or screws there. It's not this time. And over here, got all this clearance. And it looks like if I put on the heater box, I'd probably have to notch it or something. But it says with my mounts pushed all the way forward, so the only way I can go is backwards. And I really don't have the room to afford to go backwards. So, but it's already sitting almost perfect where I want it. And then look at all that oil pan clearance. All of it. You see all that room right there? Got all the room in the world. I actually didn't even hit that either, even though it's coming off. But damn, guys. Try to get a straighter shot here. Yeah. I love the fitment of these mounts that I have. I got them from jagsthatrun.com or JTR. They're the S10 LS swap stealth mounts. But I went ahead and zip tied these up just for right now. I had to do that to get the legs of that under there. Probably about all I'm going to do today. I did start playing around with this stuff. Looks like the wheel hub just like fit down in there pretty snug. Like, didn't even have to hammer it in. Like, I can just pull it off. But it's snug. There's no play. I mean, it spins, but it's not. It doesn't have any bolts in there yet. But before I do anything with the front, I gotta trim these upper control arms, which I'm really not looking forward to. Alright guys, it's another day, and I finally just said, fuck it. I have enough time-ish. It's getting kind of late. It's about 6 o'clock, but thank you daylight savings time for giving me a little bit more daylight today. About ready to go. I got everything kind of in place on how I'm going to do this, but basically, as you can see, I got everything bolted in over here. The upper control arms are pretty much fully bolted in. Probably going to tighten the ball joint castle nuts a little bit more before I do this. But yeah, the game plan is to have the spring in there and just use the jack to jack it up and get the holes lined up with the lower control arm there, and then pop them in and be done with this spring shit. So, I mean, I have that spring compressor, but that's kind of last resort. A lot of guys do it this way on these, so I'm going to give her a try and hope that everything goes as planned. Alright guys, I've actually skipped ahead a little bit without recording, but I got it strapped up. It's got enough slack to where the strap isn't pulling on the spring. It's more just to be there just in case. But I got it hooked in right there and right there. Now the problem is as I go up, the jack wants to walk that way, so it wants to go inward, and by the time I almost get it up to the holes, the ears there on the lower control arm are too far in, and they're rubbing, and they're hitting like right there at that little frame lip. So I verified that I got it all seated up there in the pocket, and I got that set right. So we're pretty much like ready to go. It's just I need to keep my jack from walking inward. The wheel chocks worked. It held the jack. I got about an inch before the hole, like the lower control arm. Well, they were like almost about to start going in the slot there, and it just started lifting the whole blazer off the jacks, and I didn't have enough weight to keep it down. I wouldn't go any further. I saw some guys use a jack or a strap and wrap it around here, but this guy, the ends are too big. One video I watched, The guy used one of these orange ones to do that, but that's kind of my safety right now on the coil spring, just in case something goes sideways. I don't know if I have another one of those, but they usually just like wrap it around on the, like underneath the jack, and then have each end on the upper control arm bar there, hooked in there, so it kind of adds like fake weight, I guess, so the frame doesn't keep going up from the jack. But I don't know, man. I feel like this is more sketchy than using a spring compressor. So when I had the lowers kind of hanging in there with the bolts in the back and none of this top and spindle on, I did try to put the spring in there, and it's not going in there with like a pry bar or anything. Like, that's just not happening. Like, that would be more sketchy than anything, because the lower sitting like this and the spring's just like barely hanging in there. If I went to pop it in there, and then as I jacked it up, there'd be a good chance of it popping out and flying at me. So definitely not doing that route. I don't know. I have to figure this out. Alright guys, here's kind of my working setup. Yeah, I'm a little nervous. It's kind of scary. I got a strap underneath, like I did before. I got a little slack in there, so as the spring goes up, it's not gonna get caught up on that. So if something does go sideways, the spring's not gonna go flying out anywhere. I got the wheel chocks in front of the fucking jack wheel so it don't roll inward. Looks like it'll line up. I don't know. I hope so. I'm gonna have to like do this probably like 3 or 4 times, going up and down and adjusting. I've already kind of went up once and realized that it was too far this way. So, I mean, it seems to be holding. I did a little test run, but I got this strap. Fuck, I can't get a good angle. But it's basically going right underneath where the fucking jack plate is, and this is sitting right on that lip again on the bottom. I got that cranked down a couple times so it's not going to slip, hopefully. Now I got it hooked in up here on this part and over there on that part. That right there is not ideal, but I couldn't find another place to hook it on the frame. The other guys I saw do this took their strap and put it up here on the control arm thing, but my end hooks are a little too big for that, and probably risk popping them off doing it that way, so this is what I got. Alright boys, here we go. I got you set up on my lawnmower. Take one last sip of beer here. The scary part is going to be trying to get the bolts in while it's under pressure. You already see it starting to lift up on the frame. Good thing is, if the strap lets go, I don't have to worry about the strap cutting off my head. If I had to use chains, I would. I just have to worry about the blazer jumping up. Alright, so as it goes up, I can see that I'm still off. And I'll end up hitting. Ooh, I don't like that. Oh man, I could hear all sorts of stuff creaking. Shit there. Don't like this. Man, that was scary as fuck. I heard all kinds of noises. Like, there's a lot of shit going on here that's under pressure. Oh. This is probably the sketchiest fucking thing I've ever done in my life. don't like this at all. So my other option here would be either to modify the fucking spring compressor I have. I just need to lop off that little extra length and use that, or try to find a different one, which I think at this rate probably gonna be my safest bet, because this is all getting crazy here. And like I said, I like working on cars and stuff, but I'm not gonna kill myself over it, you know what I mean? So I didn't like that at all. It did not. Well, holy fuck, boys, I think I just solved the answers, or found the answers to all my problems. I was watching a video on this dude installing springs on a G-body, which is like the same fucking setup, but he did it this way. Take the top jaws off the spring compressor, slide it through the top shock mount hole. I had a couple of those grade 8 washers. I went ahead and threw those in there, and there's 2 of the stock ones that came with it, the spring compressor. I put those on there, slid it through, and then it threads into the bottom jaws. I think this will fucking work, because then I don't have to worry about it being too long up here or anything, and it would actually be really easy and simple to take out. Like, it's fucking genius. Alright guys, I didn't record any of this, but we got the springs on. We ended up using a combination of multiple different ways that I tried. The method we used the spring compressor, but we went down through the shock mount hole. We took the top jaws off, added extra washers up here, slid the rod through, and then had the spring on there up in the pocket, and then we put the lower jaws on, threaded it on, got it. Then we compressed it, and with the lower control arm bolts out and dangling, we had the spindle and everything up here attached, but this back here was disconnected, and we put the jack underneath it, and we got the spring up into the pocket, raised the lower control arm up, and we basically just kept using a combination of the jack and the spring compressor to bring the lower control arm up to the holes. And then once we got there, we ended up having to use some tapered punches to put in there and move the control arm to get the bolt holes to line up, and then we tap the bolts through. So all that is on there now. Now I'm working on putting on the hubs on, the shield. I got the ball joints, castle nuts torqued on, and the cotter pins in. I got the little nipples on the ball joints. I still got to put grease in those. I'm probably going to snip this ABS wire, because mine doesn't have ABS and it's just getting in the way. I'm just going to probably snip it. These are the this is the setup on a I believe a 2000 plus Blazer, so it's a little different than stock. The kit that I ordered, the lowering kit, came with the shocks, these right here, but I'm running into an issue where this is too big to fit through that hole, so that's going to have to come off. I might have to, there's not really a way to put a boot on it or anything either, so that's kind of annoying. Then another annoying part, I think I'm going to have to modify these, is that this right here is too wide on each side to go up in the pocket here, so I can get it mounted or bolted in on the bottom, because it's supposed to come up and bolt into these clips, but the shock mount down here is too wide to even fit into the inside diameter of this hole here. So, and it seems to me like these shocks are kind of universal, like they go on Dakotas and C10s and all kinds of shit. So I'm thinking I have to take the grinder and cut off some of the ends here on each side so I can get it to fit up in there. It's kind of fucking annoying to have to do that to such a simple part. But yeah, I can't get this on right now. It's kind of annoying. There's just no way to do it. I mean, I thought about putting it on the upper side, like flipping those clips around and bolting it in through the top. But then I'm worried about it hitting the coil spring and causing issues there. Because if you look, it's pretty fucking close and it probably hit the coil spring. So I think the easier option would be just to trim the ears off. So that sucks. I think we're gonna go ahead, since I can't put the shocks on, we're gonna go ahead and start getting the caliper on. I gotta look up and remember which fucking way, or which side is which, but I got my calipers over there. And when we do this, we'll be checking clearance here, because I feel like we're gonna end up having to trim that more. Well, it's another day. Got the brakes on and everything. I started putting on the inner and outer tie rods and the center link and the idler arm. And I tried to match it up because I have the old setup here. I tried to match up each side about what the length was. But I don't know if you can tell on camera, but that's some major toe out. Well, I realize I don't have the steering gearbox in, but that is some gnarly toe out on each side. This side might be worse. So I'll have to adjust that and kind of guesstimate. I mean, before I go all out on the road, you know, I'd probably have to have this aligned. Well, for sure, have it realigned and everything. But at this point, I'm thinking I'm gonna disconnect this. I'm going to get a better steering gearbox that has a better ratio on it, turning ratio and shit. But I think for now I might disconnect this from the old linkage and just put it in, because as you can see, without it in there, it's kind of making it to where I can't really adjust the tie rods very well, because the center link's sagging on the side that's supposed to be connected to the gearbox. So thinking I'm probably going to put that in and hook that up and then go from there. That may be why it's got such crazy toe out. But yeah, it's about where we're at. I'm almost, once I get this figured out, I'm going to put the wheels on, put it on the ground again. Another thing to note, the brake hoses actually, I think, are right. It almost looks like it's supposed to go up here, but there's a bracket. It's hard. It's really hard when I'm putting this back together, trying to remember how everything goes. I have to keep like Googling images to see how it went. But I have these brackets on here that I took off to paint, but it has like a little thing that goes up in here, and then it bolts or it screws in right here, and then it has a thing hanging down. Which stock, it's actually like it's gonna be sitting like this or something. I don't know. This hose isn't very flexible, but since these are 2000 Blazer hoses, you can see the little lock key that goes into the bracket's a little different, and I'm supposed to have a clip that pops in here to hold the hose into the bracket, but mine didn't come with those, so I'm gonna have to buy some clips for those. But it's not gonna exactly lock into my bracket here, because as you can see, the old bracket's got this like weird, almost hex shape. As you, yeah, it kind of, well, this probably is the other side. But the brake hose is supposed to come up here, and then it has a clip that clips it in so it doesn't go anywhere. And then the brake line screws into that. I may have to tear some brackets like this off a 2000 plus Blazer. I didn't really think about that until I got here. So, and I got this out because I was doing some more digging. I'm thinking when it warms up, because it sucks trying to pull a harness in the cold, I'm going to try to find a blue-green harness because I'm trying to save money. I want to get this thing running. And I need to do some digging and try to find a tune file that will work with mine or be close, because all I got is a cam swap. It's not nothing too crazy. I'm thinking if I get one out of a tune cabinet and change the injector data, I don't know, maybe I can get something that'll work, so I don't have to spend all the money on the Holly system, and then I can keep my gauges. But more on that later. That I'm just kind of looking down the road what I'm gonna have to do. I think one of my lowers or something, I lost the fitting and cotter pin to it, so I had extra cotter pin, so I got a cotter pin in there, but I don't have the fitting to go into that ball joint yet. So this side isn't greased yet. This side over here is greased. And the thing I don't like about this is actually a TRQ, which pisses me off, that I bought through 1A Auto. You get it on Amazon for $150, and I paid like $180 on this because I thought it was on sale. Turns out it really wasn't. But this TRQ China-made shit, I mean, it's all brand new, but like nothing is regreasable. So the only way I can think to grease this would be to use I have a little needle fitting that I can put on my grease gun over here, and I might just slide it down in the boot very carefully without poking a hole in it and just shoot some grease in there. Because I was looking at reviews of this kit, and a lot of guys said it was really stiff and there's no way to grease it. Well, I think if you have the needle fitting, you can slide it in the boot there. But right now, this isn't going to be final. There's going to be a lot of things I'm going to have to do as far as suspension goes before I actually start driving it down the road, and that's going to be one of them. So right now I'm just trying to get everything bolted up and in position so I can like drop it down on the ground for right now. But before I go take it out on the road, I'm going to have to do all those little maintenance things. So, alright, I'm going to get the steering gearbox on. Alright guys, pretty much got everything on except for the shocks, which just came in. Got the Ranchos. I think my sway bar is a little cockeyed right now, but I noticed I'm going to have to I'm going to order different ones, different sway bar bushings, because I think I went too big. So that's whatever. It's like $10 for those. I was trying to guess. I thought I had the big beefy boy, but apparently I don't. You can tell right there. It's not supposed to have a gap. So that's an easy fix though. Everything else, like I said, I don't have the cotter pins or anything torqued as far as the steering linkage goes, but it's all like snug. I snugged the lower control arm bolts and everything, so about ready to put it on the ground once I get these shocks on. Like I said, I'll be going back over everything. I greased the lower ball joint. I couldn't grease the top one because I don't have the fucking nipple because I got shorted on that. Either that or I lost it. Did want to show the difference and the issues I was having. So with Beltech, not only the kit came with these are 2-inch drop shocks. I don't have drop springs, I have drop spindles, which means the stock suspension geometry stays the same. So I don't need drop shocks. These are 2-inch drop shocks on a S10. And then also, this bottom part here is way too wide to fit up in the control arm. Now if you look at the Rancho, let's see here. It is just ever so slightly shorter, so this should fit up in there. I've never had an issue out of any Ranchos. I've always loved Rancho. And then also it came with a boot instead of the stupid shell thing, so I can slide it over and actually keep dirt and shit out of my shock, so it'll last longer. And it also came with brand new hardware. So, and this is stock suspension geometry, not drop shock. So I think from here on out I'm just going to go Rancho every single time. Like I'll probably end up replacing the rear shocks eventually. I don't know. I'll keep the Beltech ones just for now. But the back ones I do need drop shocks because I'm using drop springs. So as far as all this TRQ brand shit goes, I mean, it seems like it'll last a little while. I mean, I got the old steering gearbox in there and everything hooked up, so The center link isn't cockeyed or anything. Got everything on there. I corrected the ish. I kind of corrected the toe. Brought it in some, so it's not like completely fucked. Like I said, I'll have to get a realignment anyways, but I'll try to get it close as possible. Once I get the wheels on there, I'll really be able to see. But all I got to do is turn this sleeve one way or another to adjust toe in and out. I don't have these clamped on there. Obviously, it's supposed to go up over the sleeve. But all right, I'm gonna get these shocks in, and I think these will work. I think from here on out, I'm just gonna stick with Rancho. I'm tired of like. You get a shock, you expect it to just go in and fit and be easy. Like, it's a fucking shock. Like, them putting this stupid tube on here and trying to make it universal for, like, Dodges and S10s and everything, like, one size fits all, it's retarded. This one, it's kind of universal too, but I think it's better made. I mean, to be honest. Yeah, you can really see the difference there. And the width of the bottom mounts there. So, yep. Alright, boys, we're about to upgrade the Blazer to roller status. Hell yeah. Got the shocks in. Oh, looking pretty up there. Hell yeah. Adjusted the... Now that I had, when I put the wheels on, I noticed it was like even more crazy, so I had to adjust them again. I don't know. Still got a little toe out, but that might be somewhat close. I don't know. She's about to go back on all four wheels again. It's pretty crazy. I got a quite the angle going on here. I'm curious to see how low it goes. But alright, let's drop this thing. Yeah, I can tell that it's definitely sitting lower. When I dropped it down, I was like, oh shit. That is way lower than what I remember. Like, this is where the bumper goes. About right at my knee. Actually, the bumper may go a little lower than that. I can't remember. It's gonna be fun putting all these body panels and shit back on. I'm not putting them on yet because, like I said, I still need to get tranny and engine, the transmission and the engine in for the final time, and then get the headers in before I even want to put body panels and shit back on, because I kind of like having all this room to get to everything that I need to, and I still got stuff to do up here and wiring and stuff. I'll probably put them on before I start doing wiring, but there's a lot of stuff that I got to figure out with that. But yeah, you can see where I stood on it. Not sure what's creaking there. No, I think it might be the tie rods because I didn't tighten them down all the way, so they're probably a little loose in there. That's actually probably what that is. Because like I said, I don't have everything fully torqued and everything yet, but it's to where I can roll it if I want to. Well, kinda. I can't steer it, so if I tried to roll it out, I wouldn't be able to get it back in very well, so should probably wait till I get the steering gearbox. That might be part of the next step. New steering gearbox, starter, injectors, so I can start putting this stuff together in headers. I'm just going to do the eBay cheapo headers in there. So once I get all that in there, and the reason why I'm not torquing everything yet is because there's a lot missing here that I don't have on there. It's a lot of weight. So I wanted to wait to do that. I think I was sitting here doing some redneck leveling here. You can see that it looks like it's sitting lower in the back than it is in the front. You can kind of tell just like a little bit, like maybe ½ inch to an inch. Like I said, I think a lot of that's because of the weight missing from the front, and these came pre-tightened, so like they were so tight that even whenever I had it bolted on there, I couldn't lift the control arm up. So it's like really, really, really tight in there. So whenever I go to torque everything, I'm gonna loosen those up, get the weight of the suspension on the ground, then torque those and everything else, and it should sit considerably lower than what it is now. But like I said, I'm waiting until I get everything on there to torque all that. And I still have stuff in the rear end I gotta do. I don't know, leveling this, I might have restricted myself on climbing under there. Yeah, there ain't no way I'm climbing my fat ass under there without jacking it up. I believe I used to just be able to crawl right under there, but there ain't no fucking way. I am way too fat for that. So, you can see the rear diff under there and all that shit. And there's part of the brake line dangling down. I think that went up to the front. I got stuff to redo all those. There's the brake hose dangling. I need to get new banjo bolts. I only had the one still in the caliper, so I was able to put that one on. I wasn't able to put the other one on. But, yeah. It's pretty fucking cool, man. So excited. Oh. Just doing a little walk around now. This side's messy, so I got a bunch of shit over here. These are parts and just, I have shit everywhere. I have a whole bag of bolts over here that I don't even remember what the fuck they were. I actually stole a couple of nuts out of there for the idler arm. What the hell did I do with those? Oh yeah. This massive bag of bolts that I did not label. But now that I'm thinking about it, I believe all those were for the rear, like the gas tank and the rear bumper and shit. Like it has to be the rear. Because I think that was one of the first things that, well, no, the first thing I did was tearing apart the front. But then I think I came back to here and I tore the tank out, the bumper, all that shit. And I think that's what those bolts go to. Because I have another bag full of shit that's labeled front. Like I have probably 4 or 5 bags. I should have broke them down more because there's a lot of different bolts in that bag, and I gotta try to remember where the fuck they all go. So I mean, I definitely recommend doing that whenever you're tearing something down like this extensive, or this much. Put it all in baggies and label it. It's helped me so far, but when I first started tearing it down, I wasn't the greatest at really breaking it all down and labeling it. I kind of got lazy and started throwing a bunch of shit in one bag and then labeling it and thinking I'm going to remember that 3 years later. I think I tore it down like 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, guys, there's really not much left. I mean, I should have this bitch up and running by summer. We got the fuel system over here. I got all that stuff in. There's a few fittings that I'm going to exchange. It's mainly the fuel rail fittings that has that plastic insert. Heard guys had some leaking issues with that, so I'm going to switch over to the better metal style. It's more secure. Got the sending unit in there. There's a flex plate and all that shit. I can't even remember, but I got parts in all these boxes still. I got the gas tank right there. Still plenty more to do. I don't think I've shown the inside yet. Kind of just, since I didn't show much of actually doing the front end. I think that was from Christmas and we were supposed to throw it away because I didn't want the kids to see in the box. But yeah, here's the inside. She's still gutted. I did have some seals around that rear hatch that were leaking. So if I had it sitting outside and it rained, I would get moisture inside in the back there. And other than that, that's where the old heat shield or heat wrap stuff went. There's the bolts to the interior that fell over. My kids have dumped that out a couple times too, so I'm probably missing shit. And there's where the seats usually go, and yeah. Still got the original dash in there. For some reason, I used to drink a lot of Monster, and for some reason, I had a bad habit of sticking the Monster stickers all over shit in my cars. My Jeep's the same way, but my dash actually isn't too bad a shape. It's cracked in a few places, but fuck it. Probably get a new steering wheel before this is all done with. Actually, I kind of like that. Huh. It's not hooked up to a steering column or anything, but actually feels kind of nice. Maybe I will keep that. I don't know where the fuck my horn went. I might have to get a new one of those. Get the old fucking lighting. Old GM dash there. Anyways, I don't know. I didn't show very much of the front end. Hey, I can slam the door now and not worry about it flying off the jack. I don't know. I'm stoked, man. But anyway, since I didn't show very much of doing the front end and stuff, I figured I would show more of what it looks like right now in our current stages. I gotta go through all this bullshit. Wiring's gonna be like the last fucking thing I do. I gotta replace this heater core too. I plan on plumbing those up. Why not? At least I'll have heat. I need to find a heater only box. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean front suspension stuff's kind of, I was doing mainly stock replacement. But yeah, guys, I think we're gonna end it off there. I gotta get a new steering gearbox. I'm not keeping that one. It's got a shitty ass ratio in it. So, all right, next time we'll be doing the fuel system, and hopefully that goes well. Kind of right now I'm trying to plan how I'm going to run my lines. I wanted the fuel pressure regulator to sit somewhere in there, right off the rails, but I don't know how much room I'm going to have between the brake booster and the windshield wiper motor there. So, alright guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever helps me out. See you on the next one, and yeah.